let's talk about our first movie this week. I was thinking we could do The Wonders.
Let's do it.
Let's do The Wonders. So this is written and directed by Alice Rohrwacher. I have a synopsis here. A family of beekeepers living in the Tuscan countryside finds their household disrupted by the simultaneous arrival of a silently troubled teenage boy and a reality TV show intent on showcasing the family. I find that synopsis a little misleading because it's not quite like that.
No. Not really.
I think that I'm gonna start this one off this week, and I gotta say this one didn't really do it for me. I found it to be okay, but for me it was a bit of a manila folder in that I just watched it and it was over, and I was like, okay, there it was.
That happened. And then you just kind of moved on with your life?
Yeah. There wasn't a lot for me to grab onto with this one. I didn't think it looked particularly good. I mean, it was shot on film, so it's got that going for it. At least it looked like it was shot on film. But I found everything to be kind of muted as far as the colors. I thought that the cinematography was pretty generic. I mean, there were some bits of good-looking backgrounds here and there, but
I thought when it was working in the kind of I don't know how you want to describe that, like the more magical realism type space. I thought the movie worked really well then. Like towards the end, where a couple of things happen, like when the girl goes out and finds Martin, and
like everything that happened on the island.
Yeah, when they were in the cave, and the camera's on them, and they're sleeping, and the camera kind of tilts up and comes with the flickering light and the shadows and everything. You see them dancing around and all that.
Yeah.
And they kind of pop up, and then the camera comes back, but they're still laying there sleeping.
Yeah.
I thought that was fantastic. The boat ride out to the island was great.
That looked good. Just how the reflections of the water looked like glass, and it was just really calm.
And then when they were searching for Martin with the spotlight from the boat, all that was fantastic. But I'm kind of with you. I thought when it was working in those spaces, it was exciting. It was interesting. But everything else was just kind of, you almost want to say more of the same.
Yeah, it's not that it was bad by any stretch. It was just kind of like this little slice of life story about these beekeepers doing their thing, cultivating that honey.
Yeah.
Filling the buckets, changing the buckets.
Change those buckets.
They got to change those buckets out.
Which they're not. They don't do a really good job with those buckets, though.
No.
That was like their Achilles heel. It seemed like something as simple as moving a bucket and putting another bucket there. They just really had a lot of trouble with that.
Yeah. Change the buckets.
It's just, change the buckets. That's all you got to do.
But yeah, I don't know. This one was just a little bit of a misfire for me. It's not that there was anything inherently wrong with it, other than I found it to be a little slow. There just wasn't a lot going on here.
Yeah. No, it's definitely, there's not a lot that kind of jumps out at you and, kind of speaks to you in terms of, oh, this is something special.
Yeah. I didn't feel any kind of big connections to the characters or anything.
I mean, I will say that their dad was ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, yes, their dad was ridiculous. I want to say that at least 90% of the movie, he didn't have any clothes on at all. He was just wandering around in his underwear.
Yeah.
In his tighty whities.
Unbelievable. And I don't know why, but I did love the entire sequence when he comes home and he has this surprise. And then, it gets replaced by something else that happens, so they don't really talk about it. And then they go outside and you see what the surprise is. And you're like, oh, yeah, that's right. He really wanted that. Why?
Yeah, I don't know.
Why do they have this?
Because even his daughter said, like, no, I don't want that.
No one was on board with it because it made no sense whatsoever to have one. But he spent all the money.
Yeah, and naturally, the mom, his wife, gets really pissed at him.
Well, yeah, I definitely would too.
Because that thing probably cost a good bit.
Well, and then the amount of money that goes into keeping it.
Right. Plus, the one of the big through lines of this movie is that they're on the verge of having their farm taken away from them because essentially they're not up to code. They need to have where they extract the honey and all of that stuff. They need it to be in a clean lab with a white floor that has drainage. They need to have walls that are you're able to clean the walls. And basically, they're in this like nasty, disgusting shed to do their honey stuff.
Yeah, no, all the work is done by kids.
Yeah, and all the work is done by kids, young kids. So they're on the verge of having their whole operation shut down, which basically makes the father stressed out the entire time.
Yeah.
And on the verge of losing it at any moment.
But he exacerbates things by spending all their money.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. There's one thing that I wanted to touch on. There's something that happens towards the end of the movie. So in addition to the husband and the wife, they have 4 kids. They have 4 daughters.
Yeah.
And going back to the synopsis, there's this reality show thing that's happening. Basically, it's not really a reality show. It's more of a contest. It's more of a televised contest.
Yeah.
And they become one of the finalists, one of the 7 families, I think, that are finalists to win this cash prize that will end up saving their farm. It'll be enough money for them to do the upgrades that they need to do to save their farm. And they make it to the finals. They go to this island where they're filming everything in this kind of cave. It's ridiculous, first of all. The whole TV show thing is utterly ridiculous. It looks horrible. There's something that happens during that scene that I didn't quite expect, but in addition to the family living there, they're also living with, is it the mom's sister? Is that what it is? Who it is?
I think so.
And something happens with her there that I was a little confused about, but do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Well, I think it's just really used as a catalyst to have Martin go missing.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, I didn't quite understand it either. It felt extremely contrived.
It happened, and then they never mentioned it again. And afterwards, after Martin disappeared, like the next day, it seemed like everybody just kind of forgot about it. And to me, like, that's a pretty big deal.
I mean, they leave the island and they're like, we should really find this kid. And they're like, nah, it's all right. Let's go. We have to get out of here. So they just abandoned the kid on an island.
I don't know, that whole scene with the aunt, I thought was it was odd. It was really odd, and I thought that it was gonna head down a darker path, but yeah, they just kind of let it go after that scene.
Just abandoning the kid on an island. It's all right.
Yeah, whatever. He doesn't talk anyway.
He whistles.
He does whistle. That is something that he does.
And he that's like ridiculous whistling. I didn't know people could whistle like that, to be honest. It irritated me a little bit. Because number one, I can't whistle. So that's already bad enough. But then when you hear someone whistle like that, it's just like, man, I'm really far behind.
Yeah, and he's a 14-year-old kid, too.
I know, fucker. Unbelievable.
I don't really have anything else to say about this one.
Yeah, I don't much either. I'm like you. It's like, that's pretty good. It's all right.
Yeah, I thought that the performances were good. The kids did a good job. Even the little kids. You know, normally I don't like kids in movies. Or for some reason I judge them more harshly than than adult actors. Not intentionally, but it just happens.
That you're like more forgiving to bad acting from adults, but bad acting from kids, you're like, no fucking way.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why that is. I don't know why that is, but I thought the kids. I thought the kids did a really good job. Now I don't know what the backstory is of these actors, but you know they seem to be really comfortable working around a shitload of bees, and I definitely would not be.
No, I'd be terrified. And I mean, it was slightly interesting in that aspect because I just find like beekeeping to be a very interesting line of work.
Yeah.
So it was kind of, it was interesting to see them working like that. And when they're collecting those masses of bees, like I would be absolutely terrified.
Yeah,
They're just picking them up, like just picking up balls of bees.
yeah.
It's like 80 million bees.
And the one girl's comfortable with having the damn things in her mouth
Did you actually
and
like
crawling all
bees?
over her face.
If I hear a bee, I freak out. I don't even have to see it. I just hear the buzz and I start flailing my
I
arms
run.
around.
I just run.
It's just like,
I want to make. I thought about this while I was watching this movie. I want to make a comedy movie that's about a family of beekeepers like this, but one of the kids is deathly allergic to bees. And he's like the black sheep of the family. And everybody hates him because he's allergic to bees and can't be around them. But it's a beekeeping family.
that would be a really unfortunate situation to be born into.
Yeah, because I was thinking about that. What if one of these kids is allergic to bees? I mean, they're everywhere. They're in their house. They're everywhere outside. There's just bees everywhere.
So many bees.
Yeah. Well, that's the Wonders. Lots of bees. Lots of drama. Somewhat.
It's pretty good cinematography when it moves into the more magical realism type
Yeah.
areas of
Oh,
the film, but everything else is just kind of.
I wasn't even really impressed with that stuff, to be honest. I mean, I thought it
It's
was
just
okay, but
it was just too little, too late for me because it was
yeah.
all towards the end. Like when she gets in bed with the family, and then the camera kind of circles around and it comes
Mm-hmm.
back and everyone's gone.
Yeah, that was interesting. I liked that.
I wish it was more like that for the entire film. Just kept you on your toes. Like what the hell is happening here?
Yeah. All right, let's give The Wonders a score. I'm going to give this one a 5.5 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it a 6.
There you have it. I believe that this one is only playing in limited release right now, but feel free to search it out on various VOD platforms. It seems like one that would pop up there relatively soon.